Edward Prendick spends 8 days adrift in a dinghy under a pitiless sun, his water rations gone, his mind unraveling, as his desperate crewmates fight to the death over who will be eaten first. He is eventually pulled from the water by a strange merchant vessel. As he recovers, he shares his background, a gentleman of independent means who studied biology in London under the famed Professor Huxley. But his rescue is short-lived. A conflict with a drunken captain results in Prendick being cast off onto an uncharted volcanic rock, Noble's Isle, alongside a bizarre cargo of pumas, llamas, and a cold, commanding man named Dr. Moreau. The compound they inhabit is built like a fortress. It is ringed by high stone walls, heavy wooden gates framed in iron, and a series of locked inner doors that separate the scientists' quarters from a hidden courtyard. Prendick survived the chaotic violence of the open ocean, only to walk directly into a highly controlled, secretive environment, completely insulated from the laws of civilization. From the confines of his room, he hears the sounds of the inner courtyard, the deep, agonizing, and unceasing screams of a puma being cut open while still alive. Outside the walls, the island is populated by figures wrapped in dirty white bandages. They move with an unnatural clumsiness, their eyes reflect light in the dark, and their hands are malformed, sometimes lacking digits entirely. Prendick recognizes the name from a scandal 10 years earlier. In London, a prominent physiologist named Moreau was driven out of the country after a journalist exposed his gruesome, unethical experiments. The evidence, the locked doors, the bloody sink, and the men with pointed ears, all points to one atrocity. Moreau is kidnapping human beings and surgically mutilating them into beasts. Trapped miles off the shipping lanes, Moreau has total authority over his victims. Prendick realizes he is isolated with a sadist, and without a weapon, he is next in line for the operating table. Terrified, Prendick flees the compound and plunges into the thick jungle, eventually stumbling upon a squalid village of dens hidden in a narrow volcanic ravine. Inside one of the pitch-black huts, a group of these misshapen creatures sways back and forth in the dark, reciting a hypnotic, jabbering litany led by a gray, hairy figure called the Sayer of the Law. This animated diagram shows the specific rules they repeat over and over. Not to go on all fours, not to eat flesh or fish, not to claw the bark of trees. These prohibitions are explicitly designed to suppress animal behaviors. If broken, the penalty is severe. The chant reveres Moreau as a watchful deity. His is the house of pain. His is the hand that wounds. For Prendick, the chanting confirms his darkest fears. These are humans whose minds have been broken by physical torture, heavily conditioned by religion to maintain a pathetic, fearful mimicry of their former civilization. When Moreau and his assistant discover Prendick in the village, the hunt begins. Prendick sprints blindly through the jungle, pursued by barking dogs and a pack of heavily armed, grotesque servants. Cornered at the coastline, he chooses the sea over the surgeon's knife. He wades waist-deep into the shark-infested Pacific, preparing to drown himself. Moreau halts at the shoreline. Prendick screams across the water. They are carving up men, stripping away their humanity, and he refuses to join. Moreau speaks in broken Latin, keeping the secret from his creations. He is using extreme surgery and tissue grafting to manufacture human beings out of animals. The animals are now trapped in minds and bodies they were never meant to inhabit, suffering through a forced, agonizing elevation against their nature. Back at the compound, Moreau calmly outlines his obsession with the plasticity of living forms. He explains that tissue can be grafted, bones reshaped, and chemical rhythms, the basic physiological timing of an organism's growth, can be permanently rewritten. But he treats the excruciating pain of his subjects as entirely irrelevant. To Moreau, the agony of the animals is just background noise, a minor friction in the mechanics of biological discovery. This apathy leaves the beast folk in a permanent biological purgatory. They are gifted with just enough human consciousness to articulate their own misery, yet they are constantly fighting predatory instincts they cannot fully control. This total divorce from morality is exactly why the rigid, ethical scientific institutions in London cast him out. He prioritized raw biological capability over any duty of care. The island serves as a warning about the unchecked pursuit of progress. In this isolation, the civilized man becomes a careless, unaccountable god,